The next step is to mesh the part. Now if you recall, when we imported the instances into the assembly, it asked us if we wanted it to be dependent or independent, and we chose dependent, which means the mesh has to be created on the part file itself. So we're going to go up to parts over here, expand out our barbell stand, and the mesh object over here, you notice it's empty because we haven't created a mesh yet. So I'm going to double click on it, and that brings me into the mesh module. You see over here it says module mesh. So we've essentially run through all of these by using the tree on the left. Some people prefer to navigate through the interface using this drop down instead, but I prefer going down the tree. You can see what works better for you and decide accordingly. For a mesh, the first thing we want to do is create the elements. So we're going to say mesh element type, and this is where we tell Abaqus what kind of elements we want to use. I'm going to go with the standard library because this is a standard analysis, not an explicit. And I'm going to go with linear and leave it at hex. Now meshing can be a little complicated. Generally it requires some level of knowledge of finite element analysis itself to understand what types of meshes are better for different activities. But we're going to have a video dedicated to just that later on in this tutorial series. For now, let's just go with a mesh that I've already worked with and I've got decent results with it. I'm going to say the geometric order is linear, and I'm going to click OK. Next, you want to seed the part. Seeding the part is where you essentially tell Abaqus how small you want to make each of the cells. So you go to seed part. You could individually seed edges if you wanted to, but we're just going to go with the entire part here. I'm going to set the approximate global size to 0.05 meters. I'm going to leave everything else at the default and click OK. And there you see the seeds have been marked out on the part itself. And you can see they're 0.05 meters apart because that's what I specified. And then finally you go to mesh and you tell it to actually go ahead and mesh the object. But before that, I want to click on done just to let Abaqus know seeding was complete. I'm going to go back to mesh and say part, and Abaqus asks me is it okay to mesh the part. I'm going to say yes. And there you see Abaqus has gone ahead and meshed the part for me.